Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start the actual ribbon cutting ceremony and some remarks this evening. Good evening, I'm Mark Freitag. I'm the city manager here in Janesville, and I'll be your MC this evening. It's been a beautiful fall day here in south central Wisconsin, crisp air, and so we're so excited to be able to celebrate the completion of this significant part of our downtown. I would tell you that I want to start by saying thank you to some of our different groups that have been involved. First of all, thank you very much to the businesses and the property owners that have endured, frankly, 3 years of reconstruction activities on this corridor, whether it be the bridge, whether it be this first phase of West Milwaukee Street or this second phase of West Milwaukee Street. They've put up with traffic flow issues, they've put up with construction debris, and I just want to say thank you to them from the city and certainly the community for being patient as we work through this progress. Next thing I want to say thank you to is the community partners, Downtown Janesville Incorporated, the Business Improvement District, and Arise Now. All three of those groups specifically have helped us to interact from a city perspective with the business and property owners and to make sure we keep communication lines open, and they've just been outstanding partners as we've made significant progress here in our downtown. I also want to say thank you to our past and present city council members, because they had the vision and they saw what the end result was going to be for our improvements here in the downtown, and we're well on our way. We're certainly not at the end state, but we're well on our way to achieving victory here in our downtown. I would tell you that when we came to them with a $4.8 million project for West Milwaukee Street, that takes their breath away, and it does mine too, because those are tax dollars that are being invested in our community. But it is an investment, and I think we can all be proud of this new addition to our downtown and the investment in the community for the next 20 plus years. I do want to say thank you also to our Public Works team. The Public Works team is our largest city department. They have 150 employees broken out into 6 divisions, and all 6 of those divisions had some kind of impact on this construction project over this year. We had engineering division that worked the planning and the coordination and the construction management. We had our water utility that was working the underground repairs here. Planning and building had their respective roles, and then operations and parks came in and prepped today to make sure that this site was clean and ready to go and for your enjoyment. And so DPW, led by Public Works Director Paul Woodard, just did a great job over the last year working specifically on this project. I also want to say a special thank you to Recreation Division and Shelley Slapak, our Recreation Division Director. I'm not sure where, there she is right there. So folks, she deserves a big round of applause. Give her a big round of applause. So when we conceived of let's do a celebration and a ceremony to recognize this new addition to our downtown, I asked Shelley, I said, hey, could we put something together that would make this family friendly and something special for the community? And she said, Roger, got it. And here we are. Look at this. I mean, we've got kids activities. We've got city vehicles that, families, kids can touch and see and feel and understand. And then we got a classic car show, which is true tradition, Janesville, and our association with the love of cars in this community. And so you just do great work, Shelley, and we thank you for all that you do. Thank you. And then I want to say thanks to Alan Luckett, our JATV director. JATV does a great resource. They provide public information. They tape these events for historical purposes, but also for those that might not be able to make it tonight. They record it and they'll post it on JATV, and it's available for viewing. And so thanks again to Alan and his team for doing that. So we're going to get this thing moving. I would tell you folks, this has been a long-awaited completion, and it's frankly a year behind schedule because of high waters and rapid running waters on the bridge project. Bridge project went long, pushed this project a year later, but here we are, we're celebrating. It is part of the Arise plan, approved by the council in 2015. We started out with an old, tired, rickety road, one way going that way. We made some changes in 2015, converted it to two-way. It was still an old, tired, rickety road. And now we've got a beautiful two-way road with a lot of enhancements on either side, and something we can be proud of. And so I'm very excited about that. I'd mentioned that it's a $4.8 million project. It uses federal and local dollars to bring this reality to our community, a project which was also administered by the state. And so I think this is a great example of how local, state, and federal government can work together, can coordinate, collaborate to bring goodness to communities across America and certainly right here in Janesville. And so it's just a wonderful example of 3 levels of government working cooperatively together to bring goodness to our community. And so without any further ado, I'll bring up our 3 representatives of those 3 levels of government. We're going to start at the local level with DPW Director Paul Woodard. Paul has been with us since 2014, history in public works, been a public works director previously. We frankly very, very excited about having him join the team. And he has been a champion and also a visionary of how to revitalize our downtown. And so all of these great things that we've got going on in our downtown, you know, frankly, he's the guy that's making it happen at the city. And so without any further ado, please welcome Paul Woodard.
Thank you, Mark. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the latest improvement to downtown Janesville. West Milwaukee, as you know, is an important gateway to downtown. This project continues the transformation of downtown to a place where people want to shop, live, and work. This section of roadway was over 50 years old and in desperate need of a serious redo. We ended up with a beautiful streetscaping project, traffic calming at the raised intersections to make it a friendly pedestrian environment. There are many similar elements to other projects we've done downtown the last few years, but there are some different elements. You notice we have the short walls with the landscape beds and seating areas, which we believe are an improvement. The road lanes are narrower and the terraces are wider. That will help calm traffic and enhance the pedestrian nature of the corridor. We also eliminated the weave movement that we had when we converted the road to a 2-way. And more importantly, to a lot of people, we did not include the back-end parking. And we maintained the same number of parking stalls. Two important things. So underground, we have a new water main, and all the lead service laterals have been replaced, which is good, and all new storm sewer. So with the new concrete pavement and all new utilities, we should be good for another 50 years. Now I'd like to recognize all the people that are involved in the construction of this project. I'd like to start first with the design was MSA Associates. I want to thank them for their work on this project. Chad Wagner and Brian Hureitz were the primary people from MSA working on the design of the project and ensuring that we met all the requirements the DOT requires for federal funding. Zach Pearson was our contact at the DOT for the review process due to the federal funding involved in the project. He's helpful in helping us work through that process. And then Batterman was retained by the DOT to oversee the construction team and did a great job of communicating with the businesses on the project as it went along. John Ollinger and Colton Tusher were the primary field personnel, along with Caleb Cooley from the DOT who assisted them. And lastly, Rock Road was the contractor that did the actual work. They, along with their subcontractors, were a definite key to making this project successful and getting the project done in a timely fashion and, more importantly, on budget. Lastly, I want to thank the business community. From the work team meetings to construction, they made this a very successful project. It truly was a good private-public partnership. The work team consisted of Nick Gilbertson, Britton Langfoss, Jim Auerson from Home Again, Alicia Reed from Ravenswish, Joe Corna from Conway and O'Reilly's. These projects take a while to get done, and the first work team meeting was all the way back in January 2018, so almost 4 years ago now. The work team provided valuable input on the design of the project and the construction staging. That's why we did the project in 2 phases. That was based on their input. The business community is also involved during the construction. They were involved in coordinating the business open signs and keeping a line of open communication between the businesses and the construction team. Mick Gilbertson served as our ambassador for the business community, and he was president at the weekly progress meeting, so that was definitely beneficial. And so as you can see, it's more than just one person that can make a project and make it successful. It was truly a team effort, and I'm proud of the way the project turned out and glad to have been a part in it.
Thank you, Paul. And our next speaker going to provide some perspective from the state level. She is State Representative Sue Conley, and she represents our 44th Assembly District. I've had the pleasure of working with Sue on the council over the past 4 years. She's in a new role now, but you know her as a community leader, longtime Janesvillian, and it's a pleasure to have her join us today. So thank you very much, Sue.
Thank you, Mark. Unfortunately, Secretary Craig Thompson of the DOT is not able to be here, sends his regrets, but if he were here, he might tell you a few things about the DOT. It's one of the largest state agencies. They have over 3,200 employees, and their budget is over $6 billion. I'm so glad some of that money came here for this project, right? They oversaw this project, and I think that in part made it as successful as it was. So they don't just oversee roads. The Department of Transportation oversees all transportation aspects across the state, whether it's planes, trains, boats, buses, cars, they oversee it all. And did you know that the Department of Motor Vehicles services over 50,000 customers every week across the state? So it's a really large agency. They do a lot of great work. One of the things that is important to them is that roads, like this one, are accessible, that they don't discriminate against anyone in our community, and safety is the top priority. So Paul Woodard talked about the raised intersections. That really does provide safety. It does slow traffic. The crosswalks that we have here were well thought out, right? And that work team really made a difference. So we talked about how we wanted this to look, how we wanted it to feel, and how safety played a role. And those are really key goals of the DOT as well. I want to just briefly also let you know that they're working on a long-range plan called Connect 2050. And if you want to see what they're doing, just Google Connect 2050 Wisconsin. You can leave comments about what you think the transportation plan should look like. You can see where they are in their 2-year process. They're actually hoping to be finished with the process of planning by the end of this year. So take a look at that. You can leave comments, you can read comments. It's going to be a great plan for the long-term transportation across the state. I also want to thank the business community all along West Milwaukee Street. This has been a long time, right? The bridge was out for over a year. That just drug on and on. It closed the street. Then earlier this year, the first half of this project happened, and now this is finally complete. So they really have been champions for our downtown. They did a lot of work to keep open and keep people coming down here, and look how busy it is. I love that there's so much traffic going by, and I love that people are sitting on the new seats that we have along the sidewalk. So I hope that you all enjoy this project. I was on the council when this started. I actually got to serve on the work team as well, and I'm just delighted with the way it's turned out. Thank you all for coming. We hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, Sue. And then to provide some federal perspective, we want to welcome to the podium U.S. Representative Brian Stile. He represents Wisconsin's 1st Congressional District. He's a son of Janesville, community leader. Very pleased to have you join us today. Welcome, Brian.
Thanks, Mark. How's everybody doing? What a day to celebrate in Janesville. We heard Paul and Mark rattle off a whole host of community leaders that guided the development of this road. Growing up in Janesville, I remember coming down here and you knew it was a good night when you were getting Chinese food at chop suey from the Cozy Inn. And you see the development that downtown Janesville has had over the past 15, 20 years and the changes that we've seen and the growth. And this investment is a real testament to the city of Janesville. I just got back in from Washington, D.C. literally about an hour ago. When you come back to Janesville, you realize what an absolutely wonderful community we have here that we get to call home. In projects like this, where the federal government, the state government, and city leaders come together, is something that absolutely should be celebrated. It's been a really challenging few years, not lost on anybody. And the business community here that we've referenced, and you think about all the businesses that line this and the struggles that they've had, not only did they have to navigate through COVID, and the amount of customers that were coming down were shrinking dramatically walking through here. But then the construction came in and there's some delays. But the businesses up and down this corridor navigated through that. I've had conversations with a bunch of, I see Jacqueline King over here, and others who've worked their way through this. But that's kind of the Janesville spirit, is there's challenges that are often put in front of us, but we find ways to navigate through it and ultimately be successful. And I'm so excited to come down here and to celebrate this investment in our community, which I think is going to take us to the next step. Thank you so much. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Brian. And so just real quick as we wrap up, before we cut this ribbon, I just wanted to let folks know about the next steps in our downtown. So first of all, we've got several private developments that are forthcoming. I can't talk about all the specific details because they're private developments, but we're excited about those projects coming forward here in downtown Janesville. In 2022, our bus transfer center down on River Street will receive a renovation, some new improvements. Exciting, and oh, by the way, using CARES funding to make that work. Next is East Milwaukee Street Reconstruction. So the same thing we did here, we're going to do on that side of the river, Maine to Atwood. That's going to happen preferably in 2023, maybe in 2024. We'll see. Still working that with the DOT. And then the other project that folks don't know about, I think, is Center Avenue gets redone from 5 Points down to Nicolay. And that 5 Points intersection, let me tell you, that's a mess down there. Looks ugly, it's broken, it's just as tired and rickety and old as this road used to be. And so we're excited about seeing that come to fruition in 2024. And so I want to just say thanks for attending. Please stay downtown and enjoy some activities. Take dinner, go visit the town square, enjoy your downtown. This is about victory. It's about victory in inches. We take steps, we keep the ball moving down the field, and we are doing that each and every day in Janesville. Proud of all that the city team's doing, proud of this community. We're moving forward. And so now if I could have the group that's going to do the ribbon cutting, I've got my speakers in the middle, I've got council members. If you join us on either side, past or present council members, please join us. And then anybody else that's involved in this project, please join us on the wings.
Quick action.
Hold tighter.
Tell me about your car.
Here,
Truck.
that's a 1948 Ford F1. After the war, that's the first time they had a body change in probably 8 years. First of the F1 series, in fact, for Ford. They had F1s through F8s, and of course that's a F1. When I bought it 2 years ago, it had a flathead 6 in it, had a 3-speed stick on the floor, 6-volt system, and it was built for a farm truck, basically a work truck. I drove it that way for 1 year and decided if I'm going to keep up safely with today's traffic, I got to remodel it a little bit. So it now has a 302 Ford engine in it with automatic stick shift, and she cruises beautifully. Any other questions?
No, I think you covered it. Thanks a lot. This is great.
Thank you.